Good afternoon. As chairman of the Associated Student Speakers Program, I'd like to welcome you to our 8th program of the fall quarter. As you can see, he introduced himself already. We have Mr. Harris with us today. We are indeed fortunate today because we have Mr. Harris's new film with us. We have a 13-minute featurette from it called Man in the Wilderness, which we will see in a minute. And the movie is going to be out in all theaters, right? All theaters. So you can go and see it. We're going to have a feature of it right now. And after that, we're going to have a question and answer period, which we'll take, like usual, from both sides of the ballroom. Okay. Could we move the podium now so we could have the screen come down? How about moving it that way?
Which way, that way?
Yeah.
Oh, Wendy, you're beautiful.
After that, we'll just sit.
Stage is moving. Someone's moving the stage. Can I give you a hand? Here we are. I just do this as rep.
Sorry.
I'll give you an interview now.
Well, I got this one on the other.
Why don't you move down a little bit so they can see?
Where? Oh, I just arrived. You're a bad director. I haven't seen this yet. Let's go here.
Movie making involves many levels, from the technical aspects of production to the creative and executive responsibilities of a producer like Sandy Howard. Veteran director John Huston knows this well. This time, however, he's on the other side of the camera.
He has tremendous value of those experiences which most people are inclined to keep for themselves.
Where's the old car now? Just coming up the line.
Like Houston, Harris is also generous with his experiences.
If you print that, that's a big shoe.
The scene that triggers the action of the film is one in which Zach Bass, the character played by Harris, is attacked by a giant grizzly. The company prepares...
My ex-wife!
We wanted to see how you still work with distillation, because you happen to read distillation's favorite director. And it's very awkward to have to direct chapters in a movie.
We'll have a lot of dust from the fight.
It took 3 years for his trainer to teach Petty, a 7-foot, 3-inch, 1,200-pound grizzly, to give a non-fatal pair.
Bear speak.
The bear attacks when?
The bear attacks while he's in class.
It's possible we can get a motion from the bear, which will indicate, that the bear is trying to live.
Even with the necessary precautions, there are no guarantees when working with an animal that can reduce a steel fence to shreds in a matter of moments. Away from location, Harris leads another kind of life.
This house was empty, and I accepted the guard under that tree, and later on I became more adventurous, found the whole door was open, stepped in the hall.
He now sleeps in the master bedroom, having found himself in a position where acting brings enough to indulge himself in luxury.
One drinks too much, I kind of wondering that in bottle, I kind of wonder whether it's Aaron.
Harris is not, however, self-indulgent in his choice of scripts, or the playing of the actual parts.
I think that one can actually look at a single actor's career and judge the parts he has played. In a strange way, one can almost tell you the type of man he is. There's a certain element always in the parts I seem to play. It's always a man in the middle of some kind of dilemma. I work that particular dilemma myself.
While the nature of Richard Harris's dilemma is extremely complex and personal, the nature of Zach Bass's dilemma is initially basic and physical. Left alone to die by companions who fear for their own safety, he discovers that survival is no simple gift of guts. Faced with a dilemma that is quite literally a matter of life and death, which eventually grows into a broader awareness of nature, Bass, for the first time, is forced to examine his own life. He discovers that man survives only when he can come to terms with himself. When Zach finally reaches his adversaries, he finds that they are about to begin their own battle for survival against a tribe of hostile Indians. In addition to the normal difficulties of shooting a large battle sequence, Dick Saragin has the added problems of freakish weather conditions. Freezing temperatures score the damp inclemency, turning the icy ground into a sea of mud.
Dick Saragin is a very good storyteller, a remarkable technician. I think that one of the most endearing qualities about Dick is his tremendous sense of humor. I admire this tremendously in people who can actually put themselves down.
confrontation with Captain Henry is a climactic moment for the man in the wilderness. An agonizing moment of vengeance and confusion. Bass not only faces the man who was once almost a father to him, he faces the man who nearly became the instrument of his destruction. In addition, the confrontation reminds Zach Bass of himself, and the young son he once abandoned. The filming over, Richard Harris continues to pursue his creative impulses in still another area.
But God knows how I try, because
I love writing poetry, I love singing songs, I love writing music, I love directing, I love acting. I don't do them for them to be successful, or for mine to be successful with them. I do them because I enjoy them. And if they're acclaimed, and if they are successful, then that's an added bonus, added plus.
I know it's hard to understand why didn't ever stop when more like strangers now, each acting our part. I have laughed, I have cried, I have lost every game, taken all I can take, but on the stage just the same. Because you're my boy. That's fantastic, huh?
That has got nothing to do with the movie. Okay? Well, this is fantastic. Where's the little podium? Yeah, this is lovely. How are you, sweetheart? What's the matter with you, see?
Why don't we start off with some questions, all right? Is that all right with you?
Listen, I must thank you all for coming. I must say that when I appear live in London, I don't get houses like this. I once played to 2 people in the West End. I swear my oath. I did a play once called The Diary of a Madman by Gauguin, which I adapted myself for the theatre. And on the first matinee, there were 2 people in the hall. I swear, there were 2 people in the hall. And it was a one-man show, and I looked down, I saw those 2 people there, and I thought, my God, what am I going to do? I got 2 hours and 40 minutes to go on, then I got an evening performance. So I looked down and I thanked them for coming, which kind of shocked them for a second. And then I took them up on stage and I dropped the curtain. This is true, I swear. So finally I took them up to my dressing room and I showed them how the theatre works and the prosceniums and all that and the lighting effects and the music cues and all that and brought them through it. I knew nothing about it. I bluffed them, you see. And I said, you come back tonight because it's a marvelous piece. Now, up to this particular time, we had absolutely packed houses every single night, I swear. Packed houses every night. This was the first matinee the week after we'd opened. So they were in the dressing room. We had some drinks, of course. Some wine, of course. A couple of lies, of course. And I got them, I thought, with great difficulty, I got them 2 seats for the evening performance. So when the curtain went up that evening, and I looked up at the gallery, it was empty. The dress circle was empty. And the boxes each side of the stage were empty. But there they were. 2 people. That's a record. So I feel thrilled to be here. My God.
Okay,
I haven't prepared anything. I didn't know what was, I was told this morning I was coming here. I'm glad I came because we arrived early and we found a bar across the way and we had some booze and I met an Englishman with a black eye and about 16 stitches in his forehead. And I thought, well, happens to us all. He looked like me a little. He claimed that that because of his English accent, an Irishman hit him last night. Well, I reckon he put his hand on somebody's, on the wrong knee. Anyway, speak. I'm here. That clipping you saw of the movie often amazes me about these movies. I read a synopsis. Wendy was telling me. She was reading a synopsis of my life and these things the studios hand out. And they say I'm 6'3", which is 3 inches more than I am. They said I got piercing blue eyes, which I haven't got. And I've got a head of hair, which I'm barely holding on to. and if you were up there, you could see, right? Oh. And they have, and they hand out synopsis. There was a show last night called The Snow Goose, which I did. And I read a handout to the press of what the story was about. It had nothing to do with what you saw on television. Nothing. So they have a handout for Wilderness, and they say it's a frank follow-up to A Man Called Horse. And I keep thinking, what's a frank follow-up to A Man Called Horse? It probably means they shot the other side of me naked. I don't know what it means. They got to shoot that in CinemaScope. No 35mm there, I tell you. And now we see this thing here, about a promo for the movie, which I've never seen before. And it has nothing to do with the movie. Anybody from Warner's here? It has nothing to do with, it's unbelievable how they hoodwink people, because actually the movie is, the story is better than what they talk about inveigling people into the movies, and they give handouts and press and that. And that's why people stay away, because that story there, which I did, was a story that I read. There's a legend in America called the Hugh Glass. There's a book written called Lord Grizzly. And he was a man who was actually eaten by a bear and deserted, as it says, by his friends. And he survived. He crawled through 470 miles of wilderness through 3 seasons. And got back, and his motive was revenge. Kind of that. In our story, we tell a story that it's much more sort of spiritual and sort of a religious story, if you like, in a strange way. That you see, it's to do with, I suppose, man's survival in a sense, but also survival with himself. I don't mean the outside world. I mean, man in the wilderness. If you're going to do a story about a man surviving, it's a man in New York, or London, or any place like that. But I think that the story is deeply spiritual, because you see a kid very young when his mother dies at sea, and he hears a priest say, it's God's will, and the poor little small kid doesn't quite understand what that means. Then you got to cut to him in school, and I'm a Catholic, and it was beaten into me by Jesuits. God is good, and God made the world. I think Richard Harris made the world. And I teach my kids that too. All my kids say Damien Harris made the world, Jared Harris made the world, and Jamie Harris made the world, and they fight over it. Constant conflict. But however, I think that, and the story reveals a guy who was totally sort of dissatisfied and he's an unfulfilled and incomplete man. And his wife is pregnant, and she tries to explain to him that God is outside. God is not in a church and in books and all that, and God is out in the trees and the winds and that. And he can't understand that. But during this sort of trek or pilgrimage back to survival, or through survival, he discovers life. He sees trees and, winter destroying trees and spring coming and buds growing and blossoming again. He sees a birth of an Indian baby, which is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Despite the fact that I'm in it, I do say that. And through this, he learns God. He sees God in the trees and that. And I remember I said last night in Johnny Carson's show that the most beautiful shot I've ever seen in my life, was a shot of the world from one of those things that you people send up there around one of these planets, and there's a camera and it shoots the world, this beautiful, round, lovely thing, that looks so beautiful. And all we have done is blow pieces off it and shoot it out of orbit and change its course and kill each other and throw bombs, and Catholics and Protestants are north of Ireland killing each other. It's unbelievable, So in the movie, we try to show that vengeance and death and killing is not important anymore. Although it's a very violent movie, as you may have seen from this, the end statement of the movie is an anti-violence statement that that there is something far bigger in life than using vengeance or death or killing in order to survive. That there's something bigger within us, that we must try one day, reach into, grab, hold on to, develop, and love a little. And that's really what the movie's about. Now, that's got nothing to do with what you've seen, right? Had it? You're all quiet. You know what I mean? Anyway, any questions? That's what I'm going to say about this movie and also about the way they present it, which is kind of madness. Anybody else? Yeah, hello. What's your telephone number? Yeah? I just saw it. I look so pretty. Had all my hair and God, that was lovely. Yes? You see, what you're actually saying to me now is that that it's what you remembered best. What you're actually saying to me is, do we tend to play the same parts or to look for the same things in the same parts? One of the great mistakes, I believe, that the American actor, there's a couple of great actors like George C. Scott, who I think is unbelievable. There's a couple of, there's a great system here in Hollywood called the star system, And all of a sudden you become successful in one movie and the studio heads tell you, don't change. That's what they want to see you in. Just play that part as long as you like and as often as you like, and you're going to be successful, because it deals with the economy of making movies. In such a time as, what actually happens is an actor with probably marvelous potential, suddenly finds himself sandwiched, by committees in these enormous corporative companies that condemn him to the same thing. And in actual fact, they condemn him to a kind of failure because he hasn't developed as an actor. And I think that English actors, Irish here, English actors don't if they're successful, they don't condemn success. They don't condemn the bread they get for it. I mean, I like it, and I spend it, and all that. But they're not conditioned, to the big policy movie makers who have you under contract for 4 movies or 3 movies and tell you what movie you're going to do. They, would prefer to do different type of roles and probably fail doing them. I mean, failure seems to be I'm not condemning you or anybody here, but I think failure seems to be a word that scares people over here, to fail. I think failure is a good thing. Fail, and if you can get up off your knees and walk a bit more, fail again. The next time you walk a little further, grow a little taller. Maybe one day I'll be 6'3", like they said in the thing, but listen, I'm talking about failure. I know all about that failure, Daddy. I mean, that has been me for years, but however, have I answered your question? No. I haven't? Oh, God. Oh. How do I what? How do you view your role? Would you have to come up here and whisper into my ear?
There's a microphone over there. She can go to the side if you want to.
How do I pick?
How do you view your role?
How do I pick the parts? Is that right? Don't do that too often. Yes. Oh, I see. What she wants to know is how you pick your parts, right? And stop me if I'm wrong now, because I can go on for 10 minutes in the wrong thing. And how I pick. You better come up and ask me here.
Why don't you go to the microphone?
Would you get down there? Come on, get up here and sit and chat. Get there. Come on now.
I forgot
You don't
the
have to
question.
look at me when you speak. What? You forgot the question? Go on.
Well, as you as you're saying about your ex-wife, any more questions? Now, let me tell you, how do you pick your nose?
How do I pick my women? I sit up here and I say I can't understand the question. They come right up on my lap.
How do you pick your parts, huh? Come on, tell me all about it. Now, how do you pick your parts? How do you decide what kind of man you are? And I can tell what kind of man you are. But how do you decide? You know, what kind of man you are, and then pick your parts. Go on.
I ain't going nowhere.
Go on. Wait.
All right, that's yeah.
I didn't finish the question.
Oh, go on. Haven't you?
That was it.
Yeah, well, you're doing terrific.
Would you
I feel great. I mean, I don't feel I have to answer the question after this.
I don't feel you do either.
I can do 15. Maybe you've just picked my part. How's that?
Well, he's got a spare part of his lap up here. Would anybody like to?
Oh! This is better than questions. Anybody else? Do you want me to answer that?
I would like you to. I
Okay,
really would.
right.
I really
Right.
would. Okay,
No, don't move. Oh, God, don't go until somebody else comes up. Otherwise, I'll have him in my lap all day. That's terrible.
I'll keep it warm for you.
Would you do that again, please?
Go ahead, answer the question.
Are you sure now? You finished?
I'm done.
You okay?
Yeah.
You are done? Are you? Would you ring me and tell me about it?
Go on.
No, I think that well, now how do I pick my parts? I think that there is, when you read a script, for instance, sometimes the story is good, like in this thing here, this wilderness piece, I thought the script was awful, right? But we got to the last 4 pages of the script, and when a man goes through all this and doesn't seek, and when the moment of revenge, the opportunity to revenge, approaches him, he doesn't take it, having gone through all he went through. Well, the script was badly scripted, so we had it rewritten so we could reveal something of the man to show how a man could reach this particular decision that he just made. Oh, you're not listening to me at all.
I am.
I am.
I am. Totally.
Are you?
Totally.
So that I think there's something, there are hidden things within us, like a spark or a chord in an instrument that you read something and suddenly you think, maybe you can identify with it, or the premise of the story interests you, and that's how you pick them.
That's what I thought.
That's what you thought. Oh, I want to talk some more. Anybody else want a question?
There's mics on each side. People
Don't spoil my fun.
I think somebody else might want to use your lap.
yeah, but
What?
people waiting.
Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, next. This is great. I'm going to be here all day.
You want to go to the people on the side, or you rather?
Anybody?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah?
Harris?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right back. What? Where'd you get it? Okay.
Are we moving in?
Well, listen, we can go back and do it in there if you like. This is fantastic. You never told me this. Could I come back tomorrow and do more?
Sure.
There's thousands of you to get through here. Go on, then. What's the question?
Are
I
you
want to know
going?
where you got that.
I got it in it's a picture of Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris.
What?
I still want you to sing something from Calvin.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
oh, please sing How to Handle a Woman.
Oh, go on.
I want to know if you're going to be making a picture of Hamlet.
I am.
When?
1972. I have a concept of Hamlet. Can you hear? I have a concept of Hamlet, which I guarantee if it's done in the theater, we won't get through the first act, you know. But it's original, and I can justify it. And I've had it read and reread by Shakespearean scholars and actors from Stratford. And I will do it in a movie because it's safer.
Do you need anybody to play the part of Ophelia? I'm an actress.
That's how it's done, you know. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to do it at the end of 72, 73, I think.
Okay.
Yeah?
And Rose Bloom, is that what it's called, the one you're directing?
Bloomfield.
Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
When is that coming out?
It's opening in England the last week in December. You'll see it here in March, probably.
Oh.
Right.
It's something else to ask, but I've forgotten because my foot.
Well, take your time, think.
No, it's I'm sure that every girl out there wants to be where I am now.
It's not possible.
Well, then you're stupid.
Do you go and see my movies?
I have seen Camelot at least 20 times.
Do you know I did a movie called The Molly Maguires?
That's my second
and if everybody
favorite.
and if everybody here had gone and paid to see it, it would have been a success.
5 times.
It was a total failure.
It was great.
Was it?
Yes.
That's a good movie, huh?
What is your favorite role?
Sporting Life.
That was excellent.
Like it? No.
Yeah.
You got a boyfriend out there?
No.
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 Any more questions?
Oh, don't ask anymore.
Oh yeah. Gotta talk about you. You can't come on my lap. We've just done an album. We've done a single. You heard on that thing there called My Boy, and we've just done an album which is on sale the end of this week. Well, it's finished. It's done. It's on sale. Well, we did an album that's almost like a short story. You know, it's not 12 independent tracks. It's like a short story that each chapter relates to the next song. It's like that each song is a chapter, and the whole thing interrelates and links together, and musically as well as as lyrically. And it tells a story. I wrote 2 of the songs on it, and some English. I beat people to death to write it in London. You know, I have this big house. See that house you saw up on the screen with the big tower? Right? That house? Well, I bought that house after years and years of trying to get the house, see? And the house it's a very famous house. The inside is very strange and unique. And the man who designed the house died before the inside was complete. That's in 1870. And the house has never been finished. So I bought the house, and the plans for the house were in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. So I got the plans back and put builders in, right? Well, they were supposed to be there for 3 months. Well, 32 months later, I give a cocktail party thanking them, the day they leave. 32 months they were in the house, right? In the meantime, we're writing this album. And I say to one of the writers, a man called Johnny Harris, who's done he's done some MDing for Shirley Bassey and Tom Jones and that. And now he's got I gave him a chance to write some music, original stuff himself. And so I wrote the synopsis for the album, what the story would be like and what each track should be. So he wasn't doing very well, so I made him come in and live in the house. And I said, when I go to sleep at night, I want to hear you play. If I wake up, I want to hear you play. In the morning, I want to hear you play. So anyway, one night when he was writing music, the dining room, after having them out for 32 months, that just left, the dining room burns down after 5 weeks. And we're all rushing around the place with bringing up the police and getting the fire brigade in. And Johnny Harris gets up from the piano, and I said, "You sit by that piano and finish the songs." Right, and the house is collapsing around us. So as I left London to come here, the builders were back in. That nice?
That's terrific.
And I have a ghost. Do you want to come and haunt me in my house?
I read that article.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Any more questions? You can?
Can I say on this side?
You can.
Oh, boy. I'm not getting off.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either.
Have you got a large bench?
Something to tell our grandchildren. I was wondering.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't have a drink. But I was wondering.
Are you sisters?
No. That's the second time I don't even know her name. But I was wondering, when you're acting.
Her name is Dorothy.
Really?
No.
650-3137, right? Thanks.
When you're acting a part, do you really become that person, or do you have to keep yourself separate?
I think that the Stanislavski thing of actors becoming the characters they play is a lot of old rubbish.
I hope not, because in Caprice, that was terrible.
Why did you have to bring that up?
Because it was just on television.
I walked off an airplane and that was on.
I believe it.
No one laughed.
No, they haven't seen the movie.
No, I think that it's not necessary. I mean, look, for goodness sake, you must. I don't think the two things that you have to have experienced previously what you're playing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then you can't play Hamlet unless your father dies and your mother marries your uncle.
Right.
Right?
How about singing a song before everybody leaves?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I know. What time is it?
It's about 22 and they gotta go in.
20 to what?
1.
Oh, I got another appointment somewhere. Why are you going?
Well, I like to sing a song.
I'm staying.
They call it the red flag of courage. This is ridiculous. What are we going to do? What you want to do?
Why don't you sing something from Camelot?
How to handle it.
Okay. I haven't got a piano.
Oh yeah, there's a piano back there, but nobody plays.
Can anybody play the piano? What is that? A whole use. I want you to know something. I was told with great fear today that UCLA, this whole campus, it's got 35,000 people. Well, that's 5,000 people more than my hometown the day I was born.
Is that right?
Right. How was that? How was that? Limerick. I thought you meant when? 1930. 1930. October the 1st. My publicity says 1933, but it's really 1930. Okay, what do you want me to do?
How to handle it.
Could you play? Anyone play the piano? What?
Go ahead. You don't need a piano.
Oh shit. Okay. Back down again.
We'll give you moral support.
Go ahead.
Fantastic. All right then. Here we go. I can forget it, I'm sure. How to handle a woman? There's a way, said the wise old man, a way known to every woman since the whole rigmarole began. Do I threaten her? I begged him answer. Do I threaten or cajole or plead? Do I brood or play the gay romancer? Said he, smiling, no indeed. How to handle a woman? Mark me well, and I'll tell you, sir, the way to handle a woman is to love her, simply love her, merely love her, love her, love her. Thank you. Bye-bye. Nico. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.